Hey, shout out to Wiseman, man, holding on to his career because some of these NBA franchises, man, they fucking a
They're
lot of
pretty
these
ruthless
guys
about it.
over.
Hmm.
I don't know why
And then,
Golden. We could pivot to Golden State because there's a
oh, dude,
lot
that's
of
awesome.
errors that they made.
The Mike
Um,
Dunleavy doesn't look good, man.
it's not even that the James. Some of these picks that they got when they were bad in 2020, like Wiseman and
Kuminga.
Kaminga, they should have came off of those. They should have came off of those a long time ago.
Kuminga got extended, no? Bro, with Tim, I feel like, bro, they're banking on potential, but it's 3 years. Like, how much
Yeah,
can we bank at this point? Like, he's what, about to be 22? You kind of get an idea of a player when he's 22, 23. Like, can he be a star? Because then his body becomes much more used to the NBA environment.
I'm not sure about his extension, but I know the Warriors rejected the sign and trade with for Paul George because of Kaminga. They didn't want to give him up. And again,
But you think that's more of a worry about the Warriors? The Warriors are looking at it as like, you know,
I think
how long can we ride this train out? Let's just like, well, like we sell tickets with Steph and Dre.
yeah, they
The
make
end
a
goal
lot
is
of
having
money.
like, yeah,
They make a lot
the
of
end goal is like,
they
my
they
bad, dude.
they make a lot of cash with that arena. I believe they make like over $500 million more than most NBA teams in
Yeah,
revenue, and they're in a rock and a hard place. They're trying to maintain that revenue. They're not trying to fully go tank mode.
no, and you got the MVP who sells tickets. Like Steph Curry is one of the biggest names ever.
But at the same time, they have compromised Stephen Curry's chances of getting titles. They've
Yeah,
been
one
compromising
hundred
it for a
percent.
while now.
Yeah, and he wants to be in that conversation with Magic. I mean, he's already in, but the whole idea of like Steph Curry winning another title, it really puts a discussion on is he better than Magic?
And I don't blame Clay not wanting to take a pay cut.
No, I
Why
don't
why
blame
would
him either.
he why would he
Especially,
take a pay cut when the franchise is averaging $500 million more in revenue versus the
yeah,
next highest NBA team?
and it's not like they're winning anything for him to take a pay cut. I understand if they're like the third seed and they kind of, they kind of had to make a pivot and they kind of want to bring in more guys. But you're talking about a 10th seed Rock and the Warriors team. What what do they really need? Like, what? Why should he take a pay cut only for them to be mediocre again? Because I don't really see the Warriors being a strong team this season.
Yeah, put it like this. Not only they're making more revenue, I believe 500 I believe it's like 850
Yeah,
million dollars in revenue. They're making that type of money without even making the playoffs.
yeah,
That's fucking crazy.
because they have like Draymond, Steph, and Clay's one of the reasons why they sell tickets. Like people don't like. I don't know why the Warriors didn't like to admit this or didn't want to admit this, but Clay's one of the main attraction. That big three is the main attraction. Why? Like I
Exactly.
guarantee the idea of the big three was like, yo, we don't know how long they'll be in the NBA. Let's buy as many games and let's watch as many games as possible. That whole idea is gone now. It's just gonna be Steph Curry.
Yeah, and also
And I'm hearing,
it's kind of a marketing issue too because now everyone sees Clay is gone. It's kind of signaling that this team is going to be lesser than,
yeah,
or rough times are coming, or this is the
yeah,
end. You know what I mean? Every
it
dynasty
is the
has an
end.
end,
Yeah,
and it's
and
kind
it's like
of
when you're,
it's kind of
Mhm.
showing that, like, hey, Golden State, this is the beginning of the end for you guys.
Yeah. I mean, dude, the fact is, I think there was rumors. Did you read about it, like regarding Draymond and Clay?
I mean, I'm not gonna. I haven't read up on them yet, but I know at the end of the day, the book that will come out eventually, or just the people, or just the sit down with Stephen, Clay, and Draymond,
Yeah,
especially with Kevin Durant. I know something happened in that repeat season that we don't know about yet. Something happened because the way Steve Kerr, right after they won the championship, for him to say, "Wow, this was a rough season," when they blew through every single team, they never had any adversity on the court, but he was
no,
talking about something off the court, and I'm waiting to find out what that was because he made it seem like they ran through. They had a rough season in 2018. They blew by every
yeah,
team. So I'm like, what he's talking about is off the court. Something was going on with that team.
yeah,
And that's when, like, a year after we found out Draymond had the argument with KD on the bench and everything started coming out. But something happened in that season, man. Like, we don't really know about yet.
yeah. Well, I think I was reading somewhere, man. I saw someone posted. I guess it wasn't genuine, authentic. I should look more into it, but
because remember, Clay had rejected their offer for $24 million a year for
Yeah.
2 years in the beginning before last season started. So he
Yeah.
eventually signed to the Mavericks for $16 million a year. So he
Yeah.
signed for less money. I don't think money was an issue. I think it was a respect thing.
Yeah, the fact they went after Paul George while I'm like here trying to make my money because they paid Draymond his final contract. Like this is basically one of his final contracts
And and
before
and
he's gone.
and let's not forget, they also made it well known during the trade deadline that they were going after LeBron James. And the only
Yeah.
way to make that deal work was to trade Clay. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't
So
talk
like
about
they've
that.
explored him.
That's the only way
They've
that trade was
explored
going to
him.
work at the deadline. Was
Yeah.
Clay was making 40 million, LeBron was making 40 million. That was the only way that trade was going to work.
100%. Dude, it's interesting. I think right now the Warriors they're gonna have look. I mean, we repeated the past year. They have to look at the roster and realize like, yo, what are we? Are we just like an entertainment, or like people come and like memorize the good old days, and like Steph Curry's here for like another couple years. Watch him before he retires. Like you remember how the Lakers did with Kobe Bryant the last few years of his career, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like 2013 post all the way to 2016, where they became an attraction. Are the Warriors going to do the same thing? And is it plausible? Because at least with Kobe, he tore his Achilles and he was never healthy. With Steph Curry, he's healthy. Like he's healthier. I wouldn't say he's all the way healthy because he always has those like ankle problems throughout his career. But it's like, bro, they do have to do something where Steph Curry and them can be assured. And it's no more 2019 where Steph Curry's willing to ride it out. Like, dog, he's aging.
Yeah, he's aging. The system that they run requires him to move off ball constantly. It's really not going to work for too long. And at the same time, like I said before, they're making a shit ton of money. They're making a shit ton of money, and it seems
then
like
Wiggins is not paying out too.
It seems like Clay wanted to be respected. Basically, he wanted them to kind of understand, like, hey, Clay, we want you here. It's almost like he wanted them to say that, like, Clay, we want you to be here. He never got that feeling.
No, he never did. Because Draymond got that feeling when they extended Draymond despite having a shitty year. This Steph Curry, he's gonna get it. Even Andrew Wiggins got respect. So obviously he's gonna feel some kind of way with that. He's like, what the hell?
Yeah, and I think that who knows? Because the franchise,
But you think?
Well, hold on. I believe the franchise might have approached him wrong from this standpoint. They kind of made him feel like, remember when he got hurt and they gave him the max after that? I believe they kind of approached him in a way where they kind of felt that he owed them. Like, oh, we gave you the max after the ACL
and the Achilles.
I mean, but that was like when he got hurt in the finals.
Yeah, but then he got injured again.
But
so they gave him a lot of breathing space.
That was after the contract.
Yeah,
that was after the But it seems like they may have approached him on some, hey, remember when we gave you that money? You know what I mean? Like sometimes that could come across wrong. That could rub anybody 100%. The wrong way because at the end of the day,
of course, you're making it sound like charity.
Yeah, but it wasn't charity. The guy helped you get to all those finals, and at the end of the day, he got hurt in the finals, and so now all of a sudden, you guys are not going to give him his money.
Yeah, so and he helped to get to another finals right after. Yeah.
And it's almost like they kind of held it over his head that it was some sort of charity thing, like, hey, you owe us, and it's like in reality, he doesn't owe them for that. That's something that they should have done. Richard Jefferson actually said something very interesting about running into Clay. Yeah, he ran into Clay during the All-Star game in the elevator. And look what Clay had to say to him.
I've never shared this before out of respect to Clay. Getting off the elevator Christmas Day. This is on Christmas Day.
Of this past year?
Of this past year. I get off the elevator and I see Clay. I'm like, oh, Clay, what's up? So, oh, what's up? I'm like, hey, man, keep your mentals right. He's like, man, tell him to pay me my money. This was on Christmas Day. So on Christmas Day, a guy that had won 4 championships, and I don't give a damn what anybody says, how much money they gave him over the years because he turned their franchise around. That franchise is worth billions of dollars, not just because of Steph, it's also because of Clay. They changed the game. It wasn't just Steph changing the game. It was Steph and Clay in that backcourt.
Absolutely.
So I say that he has a right to be mad.
He's right.
Yep. It's Steph and Clay, Splash Brothers.
I believe in Richard
Jefferson's
about the branding.
The Splash Brothers
Because
branding.
Richard Jefferson was there during Clay Thompson's early development, so I'm not surprised he's willing to open up to Richard Jefferson.
Hmm. But yeah,
So that's not a surprise. I think he's right. Um, he's right about that. I think
yeah, because
Clay should have got paid a long time ago. If Draymond was getting extended despite the Warriors sucking, then he should have got it too.
yeah, and you know,
And I'm very anti like retirement contracts, but it's like, but it, but he's the guy that kind of deserves it because I don't think the Warriors are full on at that point where they suck. Like they still have room to improve if they made the right trades, which for some reason they're very conservative on. I don't know. It's because Mike Dunleavy feels like he wants to like now that Mike Dunleavy has full on control of the franchise,
mhm.
that he wants to build a roster that fits his ideal team.
But once again, why the hell this team has Stephen Curry and Kuminga in the same team? That's what I'm saying.
No, it
Like,
doesn't make any sense
yeah,
because you
the
want to
one
write
foot
out a
in with
championship team.
rebuild, and then one
Yeah.
foot out with generational star. It's like choose
Yeah.
one.
It's the same approach that he had. Man, what's the Chicago Bulls GM? Man, Krause.
No, Krause
Jerry
did
Krause.
not have that vision.
Krause, man, there was many times where his ego did feed into the idea of like I could do without MJ.
Yeah, no, that's different. What the Warriors have done has never been done before. I'm talking about you. We've never seen a generational talent like Kobe, Shaq, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson playing with a second overall pick after year 10 in year
No.
8. We've never seen that.
No,
The
never.
Warriors are the only team that tried to pull that off, and it hasn't worked. They
No.
just paid for it because they lost Clay. That is their penalty.
The
They just
Lakers
paid
only
for
did it. The Lakers only did it once they knew Kobe was done off the Achilles injury. That's when they brought in D'Lo, and that's when they brought in those kind of guys. But before and then, they never done it.
Yeah,
But yeah.
imagine had the Lakers done it a year or two after Shaq and Kobe three-peated. We'll be looking at them like they're crazy. Like, what are you doing?
We would.
You got first, second overall picks on the team. Get rid of those.
Yeah. And you have a new stadium because remember the Lakers had a brand new Staples Center right out. Like the Shaq and Kobe are ushered the Staples Center really.
Yeah, they ushered in the Staples Center, but at the end of the day, we seen a
But like,
full.
it's a similar situation of the Warriors though. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's like the Chase Center is ushered in.
It's not the same situation.
How?
We're talking
because like
no, Shaq and Kobe was over. We've never seen. We're talking about Shaq and Kobe in their prime after the three-peat. Same way.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Same way. Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson, Draymond Green in 2020. They just three-peated. Yeah. They just won 4 championships. I mean, they just won 3 championships by 2018. So we're only 2 years out. Why the hell are the Warriors getting a first and second overall pick and building those guys up? That shit has never been done before. It's never been done like that before.
Yeah.
That's the exact scenario I'm talking about. That doesn't make any sense. There should never been no Kuminga project, no James Wiseman project at year 1, year 2, year 3. That shit was weird, man.
That shit's dumb.
What wasn't Wiseman? I'm not sure if Wiseman was still on the team when they won the championship in 2022.
He was. That was his rookie year.
That's what I'm saying. It's like that shit doesn't make any sense, man. That right there is what I'm talking about. We never seen Shaq and Kobe or Michael Jordan on a team with a first and second overall pick.
Yeah.
Like even if that had happened, those GMs would have traded those pieces that pick for 2 or 3 other guys that were more polished. Because that's not where they're at. They have a generational talent. They're trying to win now. The Warriors have Stephen Curry. Try to win now. There is no later. Fuck later. You have Stephen Curry. He's not coming in another 20 years.
No, he's not.
Go ahead.
And the Warriors will never find another Steph Curry. They're not. They're not finding another Steph Curry. If you think Jonathan Kuminga, okay, let me ask you this: does Kuminga belong in the like when we talk about future of the faces of the NBA? You look at really like Victor Wembanyama. You look at Paolo Banchero, those kind of guys. You can't put Kuminga in that conversation.
He's not even close to being in there. The only reason the Warriors are considering this is because they're considering the new stadium. That's it.
It's ridiculous.
They want something for the new stadium. It's very obvious. And the amount of money that they bought in, it shows you that new stadium for them, they were strategically trying to design it in a way where it was going to be the biggest revenue maker of all time in the NBA, and it proved to be correct. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yo, they almost made that year that they made the finals. They almost made $1 billion in revenue.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. There's NBA franchises that lose $55 million a year, but yet the Warriors were able to pull out almost $1 billion.
Yeah.
$1 billion.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy.
But I also think that's the new NBA. I think the idea of markets is dying. Like, we can talk about it later, but I think the idea of markets is also dying.
No, I don't think it's that. I think there's a new business model for having an arena.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a new business model. The new business model is the arena is not the only thing the fans interact with.
Yeah.
There's a park, there's restaurants, there's a mall. There's different ways of getting revenue besides people coming in and buying tickets to the game and getting a popcorn, a beer, and a jersey. There's a whole other side to it, and I feel like the Warriors are the first team to really effectively, using technology also, kind of utilize this.
Yeah.
Like
eventually,
eventually,
heart of technology.
Yeah, eventually the way the Warriors have shown that they can make money, I believe it's gonna force legacy teams like the Knicks to move out of Madison Square Garden, because that whole area is not, they're not able to compete with the Warriors as far as making revenue. There's no way they can compete.
100%.
Yeah, most teams, like even the Dallas Mavericks, they're talking about if they get a new arena, they want casinos right next to it. They want like a whole like theme park, like Disney
they want a
World.
tourist.
Yeah,
you want a tourism. Yeah, you want people.
It's not even that. It's like a whole experience. There's
when
dining.
People go
there's everything.
Yeah, when people go to, let's say, Chase Arena, why not shop a little? Why not explore the city? It brings more money for everyone.
Or why not stay in the hotel?
Yeah,
inside the building next to the arena that's connected. That's where they're headed towards. You could say, hey international fans, when you come
Japanese fans, come explore our city. When you come
down here, you could stay in the hotel and you could see SGA in the same night.
Yeah,
that's where they're headed.
Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, you could see all these. Come to Minnesota, so it doesn't matter now what market they're in. Or even like if you're in Oklahoma City, hey, come from Kansas City, come from the nearby states, come from Arkansas, and then you could stay in the hotel in the same place where the arena's at and just walk to the game.
Yeah.
And then place your bets, on DraftKings or whatever it is, and then have dinner here, and you're still in the same
experience.
area.
You're selling on experience.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, the Warriors, they've uncovered that. They've uncovered that low key. That's how they got to that $1 billion mark. They're just not selling tickets.
Yeah.
Like that shit is crazy. But again, that's why I said there's a lot of politics with Klay Thompson, the way he was been treated, and also the Warriors kind of emphasizing why they have a generational talent on their team that they're rebuilding at the same time. That shit is weird. We've never seen that. It's only a 15-man roster. Why the hell you rebuilding at the same time when you have fucking Michael Jordan of this era? You have LeBron
and why
James
are you trying to insert Pods into the starting lineup when Pods isn't even a starter right now?
That doesn't make. I know LeBron would be pissed. Didn't LeBron go to Cleveland and send Andrew Wiggins off?
Yeah, he did.
Exactly.
He said, "Yo, bring me Kevin Love. Bring me someone who's already established."
But the Warriors,
I don't care about this whole generational thing. You know.
But the Warriors are the only franchise that said, "Fuck it, we have that generational talent, and we're still gonna rebuild at the same time." It's never been done. It's never been done. There's some arrogant motherfuckers, though. I'm not gonna lie. For them to think that they could have done that shit is
I'm gonna
crazy.
be honest. The Hornets really came out that trade better than the Golden State Warriors.
How so? Because they got
Josh Green. At least they got a body back. But the Hornets are in a complete different situation too, so you have to take that into account too.
Yeah, they're in a different situation, but at the end of the day, I feel bad for Klay, man, because there was a lot of politics involved, and I feel like the Warriors could have better utilized their big three, quote unquote big three. They could have better utilized them ever since 2020. They could have got them more help. Klay probably would have took a pay cut because he's like, you know what? They're getting pieces around us to emphasize us in that Warriors dynasty championship run, but they weren't doing that.
They want me to win a fifth.
Yeah, they put was it Pozemski? They put him ahead of Clay.
Podolski,
Meanwhile, they're
Pods.
battling.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not really a big deal, but you don't see it part of the Warriors' plan that they're actually trying to
And it
best
doesn't help their
utilize
identity.
Green and
It doesn't
Stephen
help their
Curry and
identity.
Clay.
It doesn't help their identity, most importantly.
Yeah.
Like Pods is a new guy. He doesn't know the Warriors' identity. He doesn't know the NBA really like that.
Yeah, so it's this whole Warriors thing has been disappointing the way they I feel like they let the plans of their stadium get in the way
Yeah.
of them best utilizing Steph, Clay, and Draymond.
Yeah.
They really let that shit get in because they're making sure that they have a product for when those guys fall on their swords, get hurt, or they're injured, or they age, and then that's it. They're making sure, hey, Kuminga, go out there. Now we're gonna sell Kuminga. Like it seemed like that was their plan, and it's like, it's very unfortunate, very unfortunate. And I think Clay was aware of that. I think Clay just peeped it. Clay was like, oh, you want me to be here when you fall on your sword while you're making a lot of money off my name? Like, it doesn't make sense. And I gotta take a pay cut, and you're not even building around me. I gotta come off the bench. It doesn't make any sense.
Let me ask you this: is this a byproduct of a new a new front office? Because Bob Myers is gone, the guy who invested a lot of years into them.
No, because
now
he was there. He was there ever since Clay started feeling disrespected.
Bob Myers, yeah.
Bob Myers, he was there. It seems
Bob
like
Myers left what?
This disrespect.
Bob Myers left. Yeah.
Yeah,
but he left right after the championship run.
Yeah, but the disrespect might have came way before that. Because think about it, right? Clay got hurt during the finals. Then he spent 2.5 years recovering. Who knows? The sentiment could have been, hey, you're Clay, we hooked you up. You owe us. Sometimes, because people forget, these teams are corporations. Sometimes there's very subtle things that corporations kind of tell you, but they don't directly tell you, but they kind of push off a certain sentiment. They might have put that on into Clay, like, hey, you owe us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he might have not liked that. No one would have liked that because technically they should have gave him the max anyway.
Yeah.
For all the work that he did.
Yeah. Especially like in this contract, he missed 2 seasons out those contracts, but he didn't win them in NBA Finals when it mattered.
Yeah. So basically, because you could tell from the way he left, when Clay would have did a thank you letter, to the fans, or I thank you guys. I made the decision a day ahead of time. The way he left, it just doesn't smell that. It smells like this shit ended bad, man.
Especially.
Yeah, it ended.
Especially like considering that he's developed. Like Klay Thompson was not expected to be like a superstar. He was what, the 11th? What pick was he? Like top 15, top 20 pick?
Correct. They didn't even want him to begin with.
Yeah, they almost traded him for Kevin Love.
Yeah, it was Jerry West that kind of said, "Hey, I will resign if you guys trade this guy."
Yeah, and he was able to prove himself. He became an all-star, one of the best defensive players, and Hall of Famer, really, like in his time in the Warriors. So it's like, and obviously, like his reputation, one of his greatest playoffs was 2016 when he helped the Warriors come back from a 3-1 deficit against the Thunder. So he's like, you can't talk about the Warriors without Klay Thompson.
Correct. But all I'm trying to say is that, hey, they might have made him feel like, hey, you owe us. Don't give Klay the money and then throughout the years kind of make it seem like, oh, we did him a favor.
That over said.
Yeah, we did him a favor. Don't do that. Because it seems like from the way he left, it seems like something along those lines kind of happened throughout the years. It's almost like KD. Yeah. When KD was there, something happened within that organization. It's very passive aggressive. It's almost like, hey, you owe us. Like, we took you in. Because you even see it in the parade. What's that comment that Bob Myers made to KD? He was like, oh, but Steph was here in the beginning. Like, there's like a very passive aggressive kind of undertone that the Warriors always had. Yeah.
I feel like they pit against each other. I feel like they probably did pit, like, I mean, obviously we can't get into like TMZ kind of drama, but they probably did in the locker room pit maybe like Draymond or Klay against each other, or something like that. Because I've noticed that the Warriors don't know how to handle confrontation. Even something like Jordan Poole, who isn't a star, but he was one of those guys that like he was Warriors culture the year he was there. For the few years he was there, he was the guy drafted from the second round, built himself up to be a key contributor to their finals. So I was kind of like, it's kind of interesting how like they handled that situation, the Kevin Durant situation, and let's see because information is gonna come out on the Athletic sooner or later.
It's not even that. It's gonna come out through them, through podcasts, etc. There's way too many mediums. And
Yeah,
at the end of the day, how many people right now want to interview Clay? You
one
know what I
hundred
mean?
percent. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes on like Paul George's program or I don't know whoever's his buddy. Like he's gonna for sure talk about it.
Yeah,
in a
this
bigger
is
platform.
clearly a fallout. This is a
Yeah,
fallout. The Warriors organization throughout the years have shown that
yeah.
they
But I
do
think
have agendas. Like KD, when KD got hurt, the agenda right away was, let's not say he's hurt. Let's just kind of like, they pressured KD to come back. It
to come
clearly was
back in Game
obvious
5.
that they knew he was leaving. They knew he was leaving in free agency, and they pressured him. They nailed him to the cross in the finals. They nailed him.
Yeah.
They was willing to do that. The fact that they had KD go out there showed you that org was willing to nail that dude's career
I
to
mean,
the cross.
I guarantee the whole idea probably was like, oh, you're not going to be in the conversation with Michael and Scotty or Shaq and Kobe. Like, you guys are just going to be another, like, Hakeem and Clyde or, not even Hakeem or Clyde, but like another team who just wins back to back. That's it.
Yeah, and also it's more like the Warriors. You could tell from the way they answered in the press conference after KD went down the first time
Yeah.
during the playoffs. There was like they kind of answered the questions in a way where he's coming back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, hey, this is it, guys. Like KD's about to leave. We're gonna make it seem like he has a chance to come back because they were willing to nail him to the cross. And even when Draymond
Yeah.
sat down with KD, he kept saying he didn't like the way the Warriors handle confrontation. They act like it didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, dude, this is the third time we've seen it so far. Like,
But
third time we've seen it in recent
it's,
memory.
it's not really a Warriors thing. It's overall a corporate thing, an organization thing.
Yeah,
You know
I mean,
what I
dude,
mean?
of
Like,
course,
they
Steve Kerr
do
has a
this.
role. Yeah.
They do
Because
this
I-
all the time, and I think Clay, the way you could see this play out with Clay, there was a certain I don't want to say level of arrogance, but there was a certain like, hey, he owes us. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he's lucky that we gave him that money. Like
He's
there's
lucky we
ways
gave
they
him an
could pass
opportunity
that
to
on.
begin with. Yeah.
And
But, dude, but
it's,
like,
it's
the-
not
for
a
the
normal
past.
fallout. It's not a normal fallout like this. Clay, there's usually an Instagram post before the news gets announced. Look at LeBron when LeBron left Cleveland. It would have been like that.
Or even an athletic article, too.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just-
reminiscing about his career.
it's not even that. Like there's no personal ties. There's no statement from the Warriors. It took a day for the statement from the Warriors to come out. You know what I mean? Knowing this ahead of time, there should have been there's usually a rollout. If it's really like, someone leaving and it's respectable, like both parties respect each other, there's
Yeah.
usually a rollout. Hey, I'm gonna make a post, then you guys make a statement, then Woj leaks the news. That's how it normally works. That's how it worked for LeBron the second time he left Cleveland. There was a whole letter. There was a whole Players Tribune. There's like a rollout for this. The way that this shit split up, there was no rollout. There was no rollout, bro. Like
You'd
this
act
shit
like
was
they didn't
bad.
work. You would act like they didn't he wasn't on the franchise for more than a decade,
Yeah, they act like it was more like a split up of a guy, like you said, was on a franchise for like two years.
Yeah, like a Shake Milton kind of rollout.
Yeah,
And I think the replacement even makes it worse. Shake Milton.
and even just there was a lot of subtle disrespect, man. They've been wanting to they don't want to get rid of Clay, but they were willing to trade him for LeBron, man. And LeBron, honestly, in Golden State, he's not gonna elevate that team to a championship level. Let's keep
Well,
it
I
a
think
buck.
the thing is like the fan support was the reason why Clay didn't get traded a lot sooner. Where like now the fans are kind of realizing, yo, we do need to pivot and kind of invest in younger guys. It was much more easier to trade Klay Thompson.
Now we gotta talk about how we got to this point, because Clay walks away for nothing. CP3 waived, so they got nothing for him. Jonathan Kuminga.
Well,
The fact that they never converted on this guy yet.
Hold on, let me make one point.
Mhm.
Let me make one point quick. Instead of Chris Paul, you could say the Jordan Poole, because I think Jordan Poole is a bigger picture than Chris Paul.
I was gonna add that in too. Jordan Poole
Yeah,
traded for no gain. Dante DiVincenzo,
yeah.
because the team is expensive, they were not able to re-sign him or get him for what? He went to the Knicks for 10 million a year.
And he wanted to stay. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things. I believe everything kind of starts with the Kaminga and the Jonathan
Moses
Wiseman
Moody.
situation.
Yeah.
They should have flipped those. Those should have been flipped. There should have never been a Golden State Warriors of the future and the present at the same time. They were playing those games for a minute. Hey, we got Kaminga and Wiseman, and then we got our core guys. I don't know what's this middle thing that they were doing, but I think the stadium has a lot to do with it. Because once again, their organization. Hold on. Once again, their organization, unlike any, we've never seen this before. Their organization went from a regular organization making revenue like any other NBA team to making over $500 million more than the Lakers and Knicks. And that stadium is a cash cow. We cannot deny the stadium has
And
a
a great
lot to do with this shit.
A great city in Silicon Valley. I mean, a great stadium in Silicon Valley.
In downtown San Francisco, that's where the stadium is at.
Silicon Valley, yeah. So you got people with bread coming to these games. It's not Oracle anymore.
It's not Oracle, but at the same time, there's like a game they're playing. Why hold on to Kaminga and Wiseman for so long? You know what I'm saying? They're holding on to them because they're not trying to tank. They understand that there's going to be a transition, but they thought that they could juggle the two. I've never seen this before. A team that potentially could be a dynasty, and then them trying to juggle young talent. That's never happened before.
Let me add this. Those guys are experimental developments. They're not solidified developments. Like they could have drafted a solidified player like Tyrese Halliburton, who made their team to the Eastern Conference. LaMelo Ball, who won the Rookie of the Year contest or won the Rookie of the Year that year. They could have got solidified guys on that role instead of Wiseman.
Bro,
but the fact is, they wanted to experiment on a young big.
But there's no such thing, bro. There's no way in hell you have Michael Jordan on your team and you have upcoming projects. There is none of that. There's either you're going all the way with Jordan and building around that, or that's it. You wait until you fall on your sword. They have Stephen Curry, a once in a generational player. Why the fuck are you developing Kaminga and Wiseman on the side?
I mean, dude,
that shit is weird. That shit is
remember
weird.
the best.
That shit only makes sense. That's why I said the organization is a corporation. They're juggling the new stadium. They're making sure that they have a product for the new stadium. It's very obvious.
Because Steph Curry and Clay and Draymond, they're product of the Oracle Stadium. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but look, Steph is a generational talent similar to Shaq and Kobe, Jordan and Pippen, Magic. You see that you have the generational talent. All those guys I just named. Have you ever seen the next guy behind them?
But dude, let me tell you this.
Just answer that. Yeah. Have you ever seen Magic Johnson have the next generational star in the same bench? No. Kobe, Shaq. You have the next generational talent on the bench. No. Michael Jordan. Would the Bulls even risk it trying to rebuild a second overall pick?
They tried. No. I was gonna bring that up. They tried with Tracy McGrady and the Scottie Pippen trade.
No, but that was after Jordan left. You never seen no T-Mac on the bench while Jordan is there. I'm trying to understand why the hell the Warriors have Stephen Curry, generational talent, and then you have Kaminga right there trying to develop him and Wiseman. That shit makes no sense.
And you're forcing Draymond to focus on being that veteran instead of trying to be like, let's win now. Like you're trying to force him to be that current, like right now, Chris Paul for those guys.
Yeah, it's just I see why Clay left. I see why he left, man. Because
they're just like the Chicago Bulls, in my opinion. Yeah, they don't know what they're doing.
It seems like the Warriors were anticipating falling on the sword while all the guys were still there, and there was still room to actually build up on the legacy.
Yeah, so like you could still sell tickets, and you could like develop Kuminga, which is something that's way too good to be true. Because Clay is looking at Dallas. He's like, yo, they're having fun and they're winning. And you got Kyrie Irving, who's a friend of his, right? Mm-hmm. And then you kind of got, his peers are still thriving. Durant's, he's in Phoenix. They're trying to compete. They're not competing, obviously. Clippers, like you see, his peers are trying to compete. Paul George is still trying to compete. So for Clay and his ego, it's like, yo, I want to be in that same category of competition. If I retire, I can say, yo, I competed while trying to like while going to retirement full on. Like he
Yeah,
doesn't want to go that Paul Pierce route where he's just chilling on the bench and people just want to see,
he would have been
you
doing
know,
that had he went to the Lakers.
yeah,
He would
100%. The
he would
Lakers
have
is a
been
retirement home.
Yeah, he would have been doing that. The Mavs were a perfect choice